thousands that are joining throughout the world in the live broadcast of this Kinus Hakhel. In a letter of the Rebbe, in the most recent Hakhel that we were Zeicha, the Rebbe teaches us in a letter of Chai Elul Tavshin Memches, which was towards the end of the year of Hakhel. Memches was the year of Hakhel. The Rebbe calls on utilizing the final days in the month of Elul to make Kinus Hakhel, and not only ending it there, but also extending it beyond the year of Hakhel. So we have the great schus to follow the Rebbe's directive and making this Kinus Hakhel, Grand Kinus Hakhel. We begin with reciting together the Rebbe's Kapital. We call upon two soldiers in Sivan Hashem who are very much part of Hakhel, because the mitzvah of Hakhel, the Torah tells us, is for men, women, and children. Each and every one of them are key players in every Hakhel gathering. We call upon Isaac Spalta, the Rebbe Shliach in Florida, and Levi Yitzchak Kirsch, who will now recite the Rebbe's Kapital. Please follow along.
Shir Lamalei David, Samachti Be'ayman Li, Beisadei Noin Nelech. Ein Doisai Ragleinu B'Shayach Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim Avinu Yakir Shechor B'Lo Yachtav. Shesham Alu Shvatim Shiftei Yoidosh Lo Yisrael. Leider Hashem Adonai. Kisham Yashvu Kisais Leveis David. Shalosh Shalayim Yerushalayim Yishlayu Hayavayeh. Menachem V'Reyah Davrana Shalayim Bach. Leman Beis Adonai Eloheinu Avaksha Toivlach. Yechi Adonai Morinu V'Rabbeinu Malcham Mashiach Leilam Vad. Yechi Adonai Morinu V'Rabbeinu Malcham Mashiach Leilam Vad. Yechi Adonai Morinu V'Rabbeinu Malcham Mashiach Leilam Vad.
Yashikeach. Please pay attention to the screens. We will now hear Hakhel. Is a time to hear from the Melech, a Sicha Gdesha of the Rebbe.
Legen ein Status Miuchoder auf Maschpia sein, als ihnen bechol Mokim Sheheim sollen sich zusammenkleiden, die Nanefen Hamasim und Bemokim Hamasim und Bisman Hamasim, wenn sie Masim zu Maschpia sein Bishleimus und Kedorush. Allahs kamen anheben bei sich allein in sein Schun oder in sein Stott oder in sein Chug, wo hat der Aschpa Miuchodo, soll dort Makil sein. Anoshim betab behefen Mutter, wie geht zu Noshim, eben das letztlich wegen Anoshim, weil der sich sehr beapoche. Und befragt nach Anoshim, wenn geht zu Anoshim. Und Noshim, wenn geht zu Noshim, wie Kajitze Bose. Und erzählen sie unlebendig von Ayinisch als Mann glauben mit der Apostel von Teire. Wie es wird erzählt wegen Mitzvahs Hakhel. Und dann sie einmal und ein zweites Mal und mit Yosef al-Hateire und mit Divri Teire. Und mit Dvar Hawaii zu Alocha, Pi Aloches Hateire. ובדבורים היצים מן הלב ביד אפילו מאיר ואחד פומי. במעלה מתגילוסי, אפילו הזמי לגילס ושן גבורן בהם הטבע, תות noch mehr und hat in Ruf feiche der Broch Bichas Hashem.
As we just heard from the Rebbe, the Matarda, the purpose of a gathering of Hakhel is Ashgacha Pratis, the Hakhel is following yesterday that we heard and we learned in the Torah the mitzvah of Hakhel. L'man yishmu, l'man yilmedu v'yaros Hashem alekeichem. Tonight when you hear from the Rabbanim and those who will share words of inspiration, the point of it is that we take home a message, we internalize it so that we can live with a heightened awareness of liyira as Hashem alekeichem. We now have the great privilege to call upon the Menal of Tzirei Agudas Chabad HaMerkazis, Yeshiv Rosh of Siyum HaRambam HaYolami. We take the opportunity, b'shem, all of Anash, here and all over, who were tuning in to the Slichas here in the Rebbe's Shul, to give tremendous Yashakeach to Rav Shmuel Menachem Butman for his herzige Slichas, and we wish him Arichas Yom V'Shanim Tevis to continue inspiring us. Saim the Tfilis and Saim the Divrei Yiseiris, Harav Butman.
Thank you very much for all the organizers for such a wonderful, wonderful Hakhel. And this Hakhel may have something special because mentioned in our liturgy on Yom Kippur, to Nila, we say a special prayer. And we say, Rebbe Shalom, we want you to answer us. Avul kifono yem, because the day is already setting. It's already the end of the day. So you can't push it off. You have to give us achsim and agmachsim eteva immediately. There is no time to push it off. This Hakhel takes place on the last week of the year. Friday night, in Yom Hashem, we are ushering in a new year. That year is not going to be the year of Hakhel. This is the year of Hakhel. So therefore, today we say, the Rebbe Shalom, you got to do the great Hakhel now, immediately. Avul kefono yem, the year is coming to an end, and Friday night we are ushering in a new year. Interesting, Rabbi say, from this bima, and we should see it again in Yom Hashem, there was a Verbringen on the Shabbos of Parshas Vayakhel, Tovshin Nun Beis. Now, Parshas Vayakhel, Tovshin Nun Beis, many of us who were here figured it's another Shabbos that the Rebbe is Verbringen. The Rebbe was Verbringen last week, and the week before, and the week before, and the week before. So the Rebbe is Verbringen Shabbos, Parshas Vayakhel, Tovshin Nun Beis. There was something different on that Shabbos. The Rebbe mentioned that Shabbos something that he did not mention in all the years of Nesius. And that is, he said that Aviseinu, Nesienu, never went to Eretz HaKodesh. The Rebbe never said that. And the only time that the previous Rebbe went to Eretz HaKodesh in 1929 is because he wrote that he wants to go to the Mikemes Akdeshim like in Lubavitch, and now he cannot, so therefore he's going to Eretz HaKodesh. That's the only time the Rebbe ever mentioned it. And this was Shabbos Parshas Vayakhel. Sunday was dollars, and Monday was Chov Zayin Oder Rishon. Chassidim say that there was a miracle with the Sikha that week. That week, that Sunday, before the Rebbe went to the Ehel, the Rebbe was Magia a Teichen Kotzer of the Sikha. As a matter of fact, this is not something you have to take with a muno. It's printed in Sefer HaSichas Tovshin Nun Beis. And not only that, it's printed generally, all the Sichas are printed in 2 columns. This Sikha of about a page and a half is printed in 1 column. Sefer HaSichas Tovshin Nun Beis, Shabbos Parshas Vayakhel. The very end of that Sikha, and you can check it for yourself, is the Posuk, Hinini Meviesom Me'eretz Zofein, V'kibatzti Miyalkesi Oretz, Bom Ivelu Fiseach Hodov Yeledes Yachdov, Kol Godel Yoshuvu Heino. When you read it, there's a question that comes to your mind. Tovshin Nun Beis was not Ashnas Hakhel. You heard the Sikha from the Rebbe of Memches. Memches was Ashnas Hakhel. The year after, Nun Hey was Ashnas Hakhel. Nun Beis was not Ashnas Hakhel. And the Rebbe ends, it's printed, you can see it. with this posuk, Kol Godil Yoshuvu Heino, which is a Hakhel posuk. Now, the Rebbe doesn't have to ask us which pasuk he should end. Nevertheless, there's a question here. Maybe the answer is, and if Abingan was right here on this bima, that we figured that Pasos Vayaghel Nun Beis is another Fabringen, a Fabringen like any other Fabringen. The Rebbe Fabringen last week and the week before. The Rebbe knew different. The Rebbe knew that this is the Fabringen where we're going to see and hear the Rebbe. And it's going to take a little while after that where we can see and hear the Rebbe soon to start again by a Fabringen. And therefore there was a question on the table that the Rebbe was thinking about. I promised my Chassidim who are sitting here that I will bring Mashiach bepeil mamish in the first formal Fabringen of Yud Shvat Tov Shin Yud Aleph upstairs in this building. The Rebbe said that the custom in this country, when there is a new president, he makes a declaration. So he is going to make a declaration. What is he going to reach with his administration? And his declaration is that he will bring Mashiach Tzidkenu bepeil mamish. These were the Rebbe's words. Now it's this Shabbos Parshas Vayaghel, and we're still in Golus. And what's looking for next week and the week after doesn't look like very, like we're going out immediately. So there's a shaila. What happened with this promise? So the Rebbe is telling us in this Fabringen, Kol Godel Yoshuvu Heino. The ultimate Moshiach is Hakhel. Why is the ultimate Moshiach in Hakhel? I want to tell you a secret. Yet we learned in Chitas this week about the power of Hakhel. Hakhel hu Hanoshim ve'ataf. You heard it before, Leman Yishmu, Leman Yilmadu. I want to tell you something. That Hakhel that says in Chumash never took place. I know you're going to ask a question. How can you say that? It said in Chumash, Hakhel Anoshim ve'ataf. How can you say it never took place? Rabbi Zaydat, Hakhel never took place. All Jewish men, women, and children were never in Yerushalayim until now. You can ask me why? The Rebbe says you should learn the Rambam. The Rambam says in Ilches Chagigi, I believe it's in the 3rd Perik, that there are 11 elements of people that are potul from Hakhel. 11 elements. The Rambam was a Mesudar. He gave you a number and everything. Among them, an old man. He's 99 years old. He lives in Ashkelon. Is he mechuyev to go to Yerushalayim for Hakhel? The Rambam says he's exempt. What if he's a zokein or the einiyochei leilech beraglov? He can't walk. He is lame. He's lame. He can't walk. Is he mechuyev to go to Yerushalayim for Hakhel? The Rambam says he is not. A woman lives in Kfar Chabad, and Baruch Hashem, she has to give birth to a child today. Is she mechuyev to go today to Hakhel to Yerushalayim? The Rambam says she's not. What if the person Achmon al-Islam is blind? Is he mechuyev to go to Hakhel? The Rambam says not. In this pasuk, you have some of those elements that are poted from Hakhel. If it is a person who is blind, until now he's poted from Hakhel. Now he's going to be mechuyev in Hakhel, because when Mashiach comes, and he's coming now, everyone will be able to see. All the blind will be able to see. Everybody will have a refuah. Upiseach, someone who can't walk, today is poted from Hakhel. However, when Mashiach comes, and he's coming now, and he will have a refuah shleima, he will be chayav in Hakhel. Therefore, the Hakhel that says in the Chumash that you should be Hakhel on all Jewish men, women, and children did not take place yet, because there are always elderly people. There were always people who couldn't walk. There were always women who had to give birth to a child. There are always people who were blind. So therefore, that Hakhel never took place. So the Hakhel of Chumash is going to take place now. So therefore, when the Rebbe mentions the posik of Hakhel, he is talking about the ultimate coming of Mashiach, where it's going to be Hakhel now of all Jewish men and all Jewish women and all Jewish children. Every year, Rabbi say, and we remember it from that bime over there, Im Yot Hashem soon to start again. On Simchas Torah, the Rebbe davened in a siddur and a machzor together. So the Rebbe would open his machzor to the Haftarah of the second day, not the first day of Rosh Hashanah, that's the Haftarah of Chanukah, the Haftarah of the second day of Rosh Hashanah. And he would say, הנני מבייסום מארץ צופן, וקיבצתים מירכסי אורץ, בום עבר ופיסח, הורו וילדס יחדוב, כל גודל ישובו הנו. Gesundheit und Freilichkeit, Teikef und Miyad, Mamish.
Yashikeach Gadol and Rav Butman, we take this opportunity to express Hakaras Hatev to all the wonderful individuals who took upon themselves to organize these Hakels in recent months and including today's. Rabbi Kinus Hakhel, Rav Tamim, Rabbi Shmuel Butler, Mazel Tov and his recent Chasana, and the Tmimim who are devoted in Ibigigem to the Rebbe's in Yonim B'chol Lev and Nefesh, Atamim Mendel Gerlitzky, and Meir Meisha Altman. Yashikeach to the Gaboyim of 770 who have assisted in the organization of it. And today's Hakel was also partially sponsored, Le'eli Nishmas, Reb Tzvi Elimelech ben Meisha Aaron, whose yard site is today. In Tafshin Memches, as mentioned earlier, the Rebbe is already in Chai Elul, calling on us not only to maximize the completion of the year in the highest climax, to see that we utilize every opportunity of the year of Hakel to make gatherings, to inspire each other. But the Rebbe is already calling in Elul to recognize that it doesn't end in the year of Hakel. Hakel is meant to extend, and in the Rebbe's words of that letter, B'yeser se'eis u'b'yeser oz. In the English translation of the letter, which perhaps was also seen by the Rebbe writes, proper continuity in the new year on a substantially greater and higher level. Because in Yiddishkeit, everything is Meilim B'Kodesh. We can't just suffice by saying it was a wonderful year of Hakel, and it was a wonderful year. The Rebbe also calls on us to look back and make a cheshbon nefesh of the year. If we all think about the Hakels that happened this year, we will see that every one of them was with tremendous hatzlacha here in the Shechunah. A wonderful, amazing Hakel organized in the beginning of the year on Sukkot. The miracle of miracles, a pouring rain, and yet Anoshim, Noshim, V'taf sat through a wonderful, amazing Hakel experience. Rav Butman, who we just heard from, made a wonderful Siyam Rambam on Eastern Parkway in the spirit of Hakel, which was also tremendous hatzlacha. And if we are honest with ourselves, we see that Hakel has a very special bracha of the Rebbe, that it should be with hatzlacha beyond our wildest imaginations. We were zeicha shluchim in Borough Park to have 3 grand gatherings in the spirit of Hakel, and each one of them, we weren't sure, will it work, will it not, and they turned out to be beyond our wildest imaginations on Sukkot. A grand Hakel, 20,000 people, a Siyam Rambam, a Lag Beimer, and we all can see that whatever we do, following the Rebbe's Hiroz, is crowned with a tremendous bracha beyond our wildest imaginations. And the Rebbe says, when you think about that, make a resolve to continue this spirit of Hakel in the coming year. Everyone, Anoshim, Noshim, V'taf. And we'll soon hear from the Rabbanim. Here? Huh? But now we'll hear a special presentation for the children, how they can do Hakel in their world, in their reality. Your attention to the screens.
Welcome, boys and girls, to the Grand Kinus Hakhel in 770. Here's a Rebbe video presentation made especially for you. Please sit respectfully and listen to the Dvar Hashem from the Melech.
Hey, what are you doing, Shalom?
I am trying to set my alarm for 5:50.
So early?
Yeah, there's slichas, and I don't want to miss it. I am trying to choose an alarm clock ringer sound. There are so many choices. Can you help me choose one? Here, listen. This one is called Crocus.
No, it's not loud enough. Definitely won't get you up.
This is called Daisy.
Too quiet too. Is that your watch?
No, that's the next alarm sound. It's called feverfew.
No, too quiet. Let's hear another one.
Okay, here's the next one.
Whoa, that will sure get you out of bed. What is that?
Sounds like trumpets, no? It's called reveille.
Oh, Reveille. That's the army bugles waking the soldiers up.
What's a bugle?
A trumpet. They blew bugles to wake the soldiers up in the army.
Oh wow, it's really, alarming. Let's hear the reveille again. That would definitely get me up if I was in the army. You know, it's like a trumpet blasting. It reminds me of the Shofar.
Verbunden mit Chodesh Elul, was not wie man der Mond früher mit der Sechet getan, ist jeder Tag bloßt man damals Shofar, was a Shofar setzt man sich, wie sie fühlt sich in jeder Zove, in jeder Armee, ist da a Bügel, was man hebt an dem Tag durch das, was man bloßt, gedei aufzuwecken, die was gehören zu der Armee, Mischinossen, Okizu Jeschene mit dem Master, sollen aufgehabt werden von Schlaf, und der Mann sagt, und durchführen sich den ganzen Tag, wie man darf sich fühlen sein, die in der Nebischen Armee.
Well, that's exactly it. We learned that a shofar is the Tzivz Hashem Reveille.
You mean it's supposed to tell us, wake up your sleepyheads, get up and out of bed, do the right thing now and show your Yetzer Tov's power? All day long, remember the Shofar song?
Too bad there isn't a shofar ringtone. Toot, 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 toot.
Yeah, the Shofar gets my neshama up. It makes me think of Rosh Hashanah. And right away I say, oops, am I ready? Better make a good achlata now. The trumpets will have to do for now though.
Okay, I'm setting the alarm. Okay, it says your alarm was set for 8 hours and 10 minutes from now.
Okay, a gute Nacht. Shema Yisrael.
Gute Nacht. See you at 5:50.
Ta, can I make Kiddush for everyone this week? I learned all the right things to say for special Rosh Hashanah Kiddush in school.
Mati Tzadikul, you aren't bar mitzvah, so you don't have the chiyuv of Kiddush. Since I'm over bar mitzvah, I need to make it for everyone else. But you can make it for yourself right after me.
Azay doch yadu, wie die Gmore sagt, der Mekamer Mekemisch, a wie scheich ist zu sagen, Achiv, auf Dadik, auf Ktani, was lei gier li klau mitzvahs.
Okay, Ta.
It's time. Everyone, let's help Mommy clear up. Get your shoes on and off we go. We have such a schus. We get to help other Yidden do the mitzvah of hearing the shofar on Rosh Hashanah.
Can I ask the next person if they're Jewish?
Sure, Shainale. Just make sure to be very respectful.
Hi, how are you? Today is the Jewish holiday of Rosh Hashanah. Are you Jewish? Would you like to hear the shofar?
Oh, sure, honey. Yes, I am. Why, thank you. What a darling. I'd love to hear the shofar. Wow, it's been ages since I heard it last.
Wonderful. Have a sweet new year.
Ta, can I blow shofar for the next person?
Mati, you can't. You're not mechuyev in the mitzvah of shofar because you're not bar mitzvah. So you can't do the mitzvah for someone else, but you can ask the next person if they'd like to hear. How about that?
Okay. Ta, I have a question.
Yes?
Well, if Lottie and I are not bar and bas mitzvah and we aren't really mechuyev, obligated in mitzvahs, how come you always tell us to come to Yom Messiah and that it's our job to get people to do all the mitzvahs and bring Mashiach? Yeah. How come I can't make kiddush for people or blow shofar for them, but I can go around and ask them to do mitzvahs?
Good question, Kinderlach. I love when you ask such smart questions. It shows that you're really thinking about things. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvosav, v'tzivanu lishmoya kol shofar. Normally, kids under bar and bas mitzvah aren't obligated in mitzvahs, but there's an exception.
Oh, I know. The mitzvah of eating ice cream for breakfast.
Oh, don't think that's a mitzvah, Mati. More like your personal minhag. Either way, nope. The mitzvah I'm talking about is the mitzvah of helping to put together the Mishkan. Everyone took part in donating the materials to build the Mishkan, even kids.
Wird Moshe Rabbeinu, was Moshe Emes, wird Erosi Emes, und hat mir gebracht den Chesed von Nidwas, Kol Hoon, wird sagen, die in Ruf haben sich Mishtater gewähnt, Skenim, Skenes und Anoshim und Noshim, und in Ruf haben sich aber Rechet Mishtater gewähnt, Pitzlach, Shebe Yisrael, Ktanim und Ktanis.
I would bring my hairbands to help hold the pillars together. I'd bring my remote control car to, help drive the Kohanim to work.
That's great. That's exactly what Hashem wants, for everyone to be involved in building the Beis HaMikdash.
Was kein Tier Lono, sie darf sich sein, Mido kneged Mido na Kele Massimo. Jeder will sich, mit seinen Kindern und Pitzlach-Kinder, Hasidim lehivolet, sollen kommen und sehen Mashiach Tzidkenu und sehen der Beis HaMikdash bin Kene.
And when we go on Messiah, that's just what we're doing. We're bringing Mashiach closer, helping to build the Beis HaMikdash brick by brick. So what are we waiting for? I see some more people over there. Let's go see if they're Jewish. I want to do a mitzvah. That's my job after all, doing whatever I can to bring Mashiach today.
The Rebbe encourages that we should, in the month of Elul, when we get together, we should blow the Shofar. Rav Levi Matasov will blow the Shofar now for this Kinus Hakhel. There is matbeyas being given out for tzedakah, and all the children are receiving lollipops. Let's make sure to make a bracha loud and clear. Yashikeach. It's also an opportune time to join everyone together in wishing everyone here, Yidden the world over, with a ksiva, v'chasima teva, shana teva, mesuka, and the ikir shnas, geula v'yeshua, with this galus, take it from Yad Mamish. Talking about extending the year of Hakhel is something that we all have to internalize, anoshim, noshim v'taf, men, women, and children, to see how can we take the energy, the empowerment of this year and take it, like the Rebbe says, to a whole new level, b'yeser se'ez or b'yeser uz. And there's multiple ideas that we can all think about. A number of suggestions came up, and we'll just share very briefly some practical takeaways of hachlotas tevis that we can all make. And the Rebbe says, what's a farbrengen? A farbrengen is where we don't only speak about wonderful ideas, but we internalize them and bring it to peil mamish into action. One of the inyanim that's bashgacha prat is happening simultaneously with this Kinus Hakhel is a grand Siyum Sefer Torah of the Unity Sefer Torah of Klal Yisrael in Montreal, Canada. And it's a time to reflect that in recent months, thousands upon thousands of letters in Sefer Torah were sold to many, many families, men, women, and children. Now is an opportunity we all want to make achlata to make sure that our families, every one of our children, are signed up with ACES and Sefer Torah, as well as to inspire others. UnityLetter.com is a website where you can do it. There's also Tzetlach here in the back of 770, where you can find forms to sign up for the Sefer Torah. Another Inyan is the idea of Tahalucha. Tahalucha is, in essence, a Hakhel. When we go on Tahalucha, we're gathering people, we're inspiring them with a word of Chassidus. And we all know how dear and precious Tahalucha is to the Rebbe, so much so that the Rebbe said, Mivtzayim is practically a din Shulchan Aruch. Tahalucha, this is my shlichus. The Rebbe takes tremendous interest in everyone going on Tahalucha. Now we're approaching Yontif. Is a special time where we all want to make achlata. And this is negeya for men, women, and children, because the men need the encouragement of their wives and the support while they go on Tahalucha, and the children can join in. And going to every shul where you go and bringing Simchas HaChag, bringing a message of Chassidus to inspire and to uplift, this is a Hakhel in every sense of the word. We all want to strengthen our commitment in Tahalucha, and it's not only the one who's going to speak, but everyone who goes to a shul and is misameach is a key player in the Tahalucha. You are bringing tremendous simcha, and I will share, I've heard from a number of shuls, that the difference whether they will have hakafis and simchas Torah, and it will be of meaning and purpose and simcha, is only when the Lubavitchers come. Countless messages right, left, and center. So this is another way we can resolve to enhance our commitment in going on Tahalucha. We now have the great privilege to hear from the Mored Asra, Chaver Abezn Tzedek of the Shchunas Kansiva Avayis Abracha, Harav Rabbi Yosef Yeshaya Braun, the Mored Asra.
Standing here at the end of the year of Hakhel in the Menachem of 770, Menachem Hamikdash Dula Asid, and definitely our minds are focused right now on how the mitzvah of Hakhel was fulfilled in the Beis Hamikdash was just as noisy then with all the little kindlach, Kenai Nahara, and Nashim V'taf, and we definitely deserve a tremendous deal of gratitude to those who organized this beautiful Hakhel and many other Hakhels. At the close, the conclusion of the year of Hakhel, something comes to mind over here, and I just want to shed some light on this for a couple of moments, a couple of brief moments. In the year of Hakhel, Tavshin Memches, we noticed that when the Rebbe was shaking the Dalad Minim by Hallel, he did something different. Something noticeably different than what he has done before, and different than the traditional Chabad Minig as recorded by the Rebbe in Sefer HaMenhagim. And what we've noticed was that unlike all other years, where the Rebbe would normally only take the esrig with the lulav, when it came to time to shake the Dalad Minim, during that year, the Rebbe held the esrig and lulav throughout the entire Hallel. It was astonishing, surprising, shocking, but our surprise did not last for very long, because several days later, the Rebbe spoke about the fact that he wanted to do something which was extremely difficult for him to show how Hakhel is important. Although this is something that this is the way the Friedrich Rebbe has done it, and the Rebbe's hiskashrus to the Friedrich Rebbe, to his father-in-law, we know, is exemplary. He wouldn't do anything to change from the Anhaga of the Friedige Rebbe. The Rebbe said that I, quote unquote, sacrificed my hiskashrus. I was prepared to do something which is really touches on such a core point to emphasize how serious Hakhel is for us. Hakhel is so serious, the achdus of all the Daled Minim of the Lulav and Esrig, and Daled Minim amongst Klal Yisrael, that even if it touches in areas which potentially might affect our hiskashrus. I'm aware of a story, and some people will say the story never happened, but that's not relevant right now, that someone once asked the Rebbe about making an Erev. I'm only using this as a mashal. I don't want to focus on that specifically. And the Rebbe said that we see a strange thing that today's day and age, in every community where they try to make an Erev, it creates machloikas. Erev is supposed to bring about achdus. It's a mitzvah. You're making it a bracha. And the purpose of the mitzvah is for darkei shalom. And instead we see it creates machloikas. Sometimes we can actually use out hakel in a way that it creates a machloikas. We're doing a positive thing. We're doing an achdus thing. But in the achdus thing, the Yetzer Hara comes in and tries to create division, dissension, and differences between people. As the expression often is, achdus keneged me, we're getting it together against who? We have to be conscious of this idea that when we are talking about achdus and about hakel, the hakel has to be in such a way, chas v'shalom, that a certain yid should be excluded. And even if we feel that we're engaging in a mitzvah, if the mitzvah is going to affect something of machloikis and the opposite of Avos Yisrael, it's certainly not an in of hakel. The Chassam Sofer wrote, he gave a drasha about Hakhel, and he said something which is not well known. That when the Yidden came to the Beis HaMikdash to fulfill the mitzvah of Hakhel, everybody lost out on the mitzvah. The mitzvah is to stand and listen to the king speak, but they were surrounded with their children, and they had to be mechanech their children and supervise them and observe them and explain to them what's going on and looking after them and be mechanech them. And that got in the way of keeping the mitzvah of Hakhel. Chassam Sofer explains in an alumdish way that you can't have kavanah for two mitzvahs simultaneously. And if you're thinking about the mitzvah of chinuch, you can't be focused on Hakhel. And the Chassam Sofer says, indeed, that's actually what happened. People were not focused. And really, they're losing out on Hakhel because they're busy looking after their kids. Zog the Chassam Sofer, that's pshat in the Gemara, anoshim boim lilmoid. Noshim lishmoya. Men and women are coming to learn and hear the words of Hashem. But while you bring the children, you're messing up the whole Hakhel. Zog the Chassam Sofer, no, kedei liten schar lemivyeim. Even though you're losing out on Hakhel, it is worthwhile giving up on your personal holy Hakhel. Reinbringen noch a Yiddish kind that another child should be part of it. There's a similar principle that Chassam Sofer also writes in the Drash to Chassam Sofer. He asks an interesting question. Why did the Melech have to take a chatzos shel zav like we have in front of us? The Kohanim, had to gather the people. Why do you have to gather them? They're all already in the Beis HaMikdash being Mekayim mitzvahs aliyah l'regel. So the Chassam Sofer says when you're focused on aliyah l'regel, you can't be focused on Hakhel. The same idea, you can't have two mitzvahs coming simultaneously. So everybody was asked to leave 770, to leave the Beis HaMikdash, and come back in. Oh, now you're coming for Hakhel. You can't do Hakhel and chinuch simultaneously. And if you're busy with the kids, you're losing out. But liten schar, David will give you schar. I want to conclude with one quick story. When Alter Rebbe wrote Tanya Perek Yud Beis, where Alter Rebbe says that whenever you have a grudge against another Yid, you should remove it completely from your mind. And on the contrary, if you feel any negative feeling towards another Yid, you harbor any feelings, you should go out of your way and do favors and learn from Yosef how he dealt with his brothers. So when Alter Rebbe wrote this Perek in Tanya, Alter Rebbe said, I was referring to Kemoi Reb Sender Ben Reb, these two Gersois, but his father's name was Reb Zalman or Reb Tzvi from Shklov. I was referring to the Rebbe Shklover. What did the Rebbe Shklover do? The Rebbe Shklover was a businessman, and one day there was a Masida. They reported to the authorities that he's dealing with contraband, with illegal merchandise. And they knew who the Meiser was. There was a certain person who reported him to the authorities. And he lost all his money. He really suffered tremendously. A while afterwards, he started a new business, and Baruch Hashem, the Eibush to help him, and he went back on the path of Ashidus. One day, the Meiser, the one that was malshin against him to the government, was not feeling well. So the Psender went to be Mevaker Choyle. He went to visit the Meiser. And while he was there, he stuffed in a couple of hundred ruble, golden ruble under his blanket, because the Meiser have to come Parnasa. Reb Sender eventually passed away. He passed away in his father's lifetime. The Alter Rebbe came to be Menachem the father, and he told him, you don't have to worry about where your sender is. Your sender is very high up in Gan Eden, und verschämt me. He's embarrassing me. Because I noticed that your son is going up higher and higher and higher in all the Echolos Elyonim. And I asked him, Sender, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. You're a simple guy. Why are you doing so high? Your son embarrassed me. He said, fragt das Scheile. The Rebbe fragt, you're asking me this question. Habt euch gesagt, dass Tzedakah teroim im Goy. You yourself said to me, you're nice to other people, and you do tzedakah with other people, it lifts you up. So the fact that he went out of his way to the person that mastered him to the government, who did I mean when I wrote it in Tanya? I meant like Absender Mishklov. I don't know if we all are on this madrega, but certainly when it comes to the end of the year of Hakhel, we should resolve to remove any negative feeling that we have to another Yid. And this room is loaded with brachas. Brachas of the Eibishter, brachas of the Rebbe, of all Yidden coming together. And we should all have aksivach, simir tov, and be zeicher to the Hakhel and the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi with Mashiach Tzidkeinu B'Rasheinu and Taka in this Shnas Hakhel.
Shekayach and the Marid Asra, we all wish a bracha, the Rabbanim, the Marid Asra, Yarech Yom HaMamlachte, B'Teivu B'Ni'imim. One of the practical suggestions that is relevant to each and every one assembled here, as well as all of those thousands joining us. Anoshim, Noshim V'Taf. Hakhel is the idea of gathering another Yid and sharing a word of inspiration, connecting them closer L'Yiras Hashem, to make Hashem real in their day-to-day lives. It's a time where there may be many winds blowing, things that can call attention of even Yereim Ushleimim, Chassidish Yidden. We may get distracted by things going on there outside in the world. And let's remember, what the Rebbe is calling a Hakhel is an ordinary, if we can say the word ordinary, Shabbos table. There may be discussions out there about electing this one and that one, and it may, chas v'sholem, entertain our minds and thoughts to go there. But we remember, we're also busy with an election. Vayivchar b'David Avdei. We are here to elect Melech HaMashiach. And that is the exclusive energy and discussion at every one of our gatherings, and yes, at a Shabbos table, to see to it that every participant, men, women, and children, need to be inspired, uplifted, so they walk away from a Shabbos Suda more connected le'yiras havaya, more connected to do their part to bring Mashiach. And this is so relevant to each and every one of us. Fathers and mothers can really, really tune the energy of the table. The Rebbe teaches, Eizeu ishik sheira ha'oiser etzoin baila. She will inspire her husband to see that he is set in the right direction. So here's a resolve we can all make. Our tables, our homes, whether it's Shabbos or ordinary weekday, the atmosphere, the discussion, the topics will all be infused with a Hakhel. It doesn't need grand preparations of speeches, just hearing a word of Torah and Chassidus, sharing it in a way that's meaningful to your family. That is a Hakhel in the ultimate sense of the word. Perhaps something that's a wonderful resource is every day there's a Sicha of the Rebbe called Sicha Yomi. It's played in every yeshiva the world over. And it's something accessible on the phone systems, online, apps. I believe it's sichas.com, where you can hear a short Sicha of the Rebbe that's relevant to that time of the week, that time of the year, a Yom de Pagra, etc. Now they have it translated in English, so you can follow along the Sicha, seeing the translation in English. It's a wonderful resource. Imagine if all of us here resolve to start our day with hearing the words of the Rebbe, the Melech, and seeing that today I will see to share that message of inspiration to my family, to my friends, to my neighbors, co-workers, and all my acquaintances, at least some of them. Can we imagine the impact of such a Hakhel? We will flood the world with Teirasei Shel Mashiach. This is a resolve that's shaykh to everyone, and Kindalach, to you as well. I heard from a Malamed in Olateda cheered that one of the Talmidim in his Kitta decided he will bring the energy of Hakhel into the classroom. And every week, this Talmid prepared a short vart on the Parsha. And he wrote it up, he shared it with his Kitta, and every one in the Kitta had to share it with others. Tremendous amounts of expansion of this word was spread. Children said it on Mivtzayim, they said it to their homes, they said it to their family members. It was a wonderful energy. Kindalach, you can all do a Hakhel. The Rebbe is counting on every young boy and girl to bring Hakhel into your lives and do it the way the grown-ups can, because you are key players in the mitzvah of Hakhel, just as the grown-ups we just heard from the Rav, who said that the parents cannot have the ultimate mitzvah of Hakhel if they don't bring along their children. Every Yiddish child is meant to be there involved in Hakhel. We also want to encourage Mivtza Shofar, which is a tremendous opportunity, very dear to the Rebbe, to be mezakeh as many Yidden, and to be make achlata to expand Mivtza Shofar. 770 this year, it's only one day, so we have to give it our full focus and attention. 7 o'clock in the morning till 9:30. Mivtza Shofar at Rav Galitsky will be giving out addresses where everyone can go. Halavai, we can have enough people going to the places we need to go. So be there on time, get your place, and recognize that when you're going on Mivtza Shofar, it's definitely a Hakhel. Saying a word about Rosh Hashanah, this is all extending the energy of Hakhel. And there's no doubt that the Nachas Ruach that we bring to the Rebbe, who is so dear and precious, with the mitzvah of Hakhel, will bring all of us tremendous bracha that everyone should be gebench. B'chol hamitztarech min nefesh v'ad basar. The year should bring on tochel, shana ubircheseh. And if it begins with that, maskif and aschala l'siyuma, the siyum of the year, should end on a high note, that we should all be gebench b'chol hamitztarech, everyone in our respective lives. Bon Chayim Zayna, those who need the refuah should have it. It's a achtus achsidische Verbringen can accomplish, Malch Michal can accomplish. It will surely bring down the greatest of brachas and the most important bracha, that we should see this galus of the Rebbe, take me ad mamish, Melech biyafyei techazena inenu. We should have the ultimate Hakhel in the Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi, and hear the Tka b'Shofar Gadol of Melech HaMashiach, now mamish. We will now see a short clip of a video where the Rebbe is towards the end of the year of Tashim Emches, which was the year of Hakhel, and the Rebbe is saying they should announce a Hakhel. We see the Rebbe is looking for every opportunity. Interestingly, already in the year following Hakhel, on Same Gedalia, the Rebbe is focusing the Sicha to say we need to extend Hakhel. The new year began already, and the Rebbe said there's no such thing Hakhel ended. It has to extend stronger and better. B'yeser se'eis or b'yeser ois. We all make achlotes to actualize that in our lives. Anoshim noshim v'taf. And the Rebbe assures us we will all see bracha and atzlacha beyond our imaginations. Your attention to the screens.
Das fließt im ganzen Elul, was ist von vor von Hakhel, verhalt Abrigim von Oliveira, wir werden alle und kommen in Zeit. 9, 6, 7,
Hand in Hakhel, so Hand in Hakhel.